back again today with Louise Tobin, the star of the 30s big band era, and we're enjoying a beautiful afternoon talking about her experiences in the world of jazz. Louise, you had a rich career and with American jazz, been traveled all over the world, tours in Europe, around the world, Australia, South Africa, England. Tell us a little about some of those experiences.
Well, they were all wonderful, Spencer. I enjoyed every moment of it. And in particular, some of the things that stand out in my mind today, I'm thinking about the tours that we made of South Africa. We had a very good friend there, Henry Holloway, who was the jazz authority in South Africa, and he brought us over for jazz concerts. And at that time, he was married to a very good singer, Eve Boswell, who was quite well known out of the war years in England. She was a very, very big star. So I had the pleasure of staying in her home and enjoying meeting them. But really, I was astounded that he had such a big jazz audience in South Africa. That's a long way from Denton, Texas.
Sure is. I understand you did some live performances while you were on that tour with him as well, singing with Eve on stage.
Yes, and she's such a wonderful singer. That was a great experience, and I enjoyed that very much.
Tell me about your trip to Australia when you met Prince Charles and Diane.
Well, I would say yes. Thank you for reminding me. That was just a marvelous experience. We were there with the Glenn Miller Band, and our promoter there, Mr. Lyle Richardson, who may hear this. And if you're listening, Lyle, bless you. Get feeling good and run over to see us. Anyway, he brought us there, and he explained to us that night, guys, you're going to be doing something very special tomorrow. You're going to be doing a show for Prince Charles and Princess Diane. So after everybody recovered, he explained to us what we were going to do and why. It was an anniversary of Australia, and they were there to celebrate that year. And they took us out to this. They took us to a location between two rivers because of the security that was involved. And they explained to us that what we could and couldn't do, not to touch them, not to speak unless they spoke, and I had to learn to curtsy. That's a big deal from somebody from Texas.
Sure is.
But nevertheless, I did that, and I did it willingly because they were charming, and I'll tell you a cute story about that. Well, first let me say that it was a magnificent, magnificent evening. It was one of the most beautifully appointed rooms I have ever seen. It was held in a huge, huge tent, and when I saw this tent, I thought, don't tell me they're going to entertain the prince and princess in a tent. But when we went inside, it was exquisite. It was like a movie set. It was all done in black velvet and crystal chandeliers over every table, and there was about 500 people there.
Wow.
To say nothing of the elegance of their dress. Oh my, it was just breathtaking. And I think it goes without saying that she was exquisitely beautiful, and he was charming. So they lined us all up after the evening to introduce us, or I don't know if they presented us to them or them to us, but nevertheless, as they walked down to shake hands with each member of the band, I happened to be on the end. But when Princess Di got to Peanuts, she said to him, "Is it true that you really played clarinet with the Glenn Miller Band?" And he said, "Yes, Your Highness, it's true." And she said, "Oh, I wish I'd been born there." And Peanuts said, "Oh, Your Highness, I wish you had too." She loved that. That was just darling. So that was really a wonderful experience. He was charming, and he made a point of telling me that he was coming to Texas for the anniversary of the Texas, I think 150th anniversary, I forget exactly, but nevertheless, it was a marvelous and wonderful experience.
Well, people from all over the world have just been clamoring to talk to you lately. The BBC was here to interview you, I understand. I know it's been a great honor for me to have the opportunity to speak with you.
Thank you.
I know I listened to you on the radio just a couple of weeks ago, and that was exciting. And tell us why all the excitement now? Why are you granting so many interviews to the people? And what is your feeling about jazz and why people are so excited about it now?
Well, actually, I'm excited about it because I feel like that the kids of today have missed a wonderful opportunity of hearing the full aspect of music, especially in swing, because the music that you mostly hear now is not as melodic as our swing era was.
Exactly.
Which I think is much more pleasing to the ear, and people, the musicians were so highly trained and so in love with music that they didn't just play a sheet of music. They absorbed that and they played from their heart. Now, that's not to say that some of the young kids don't. I just am not that familiar with the more modern type music. But I want the youngsters to understand and at least have an opportunity to hear those great jazz players like Red Nardo and Dave McKenna and Louis Armstrong and some of the, Peanuts Hucko.
Peanuts Hucko, Harry James, and Benny
Harry
Goodman.
James, Benny Goodman, Artie Shaw, Tommy Darcy, Jimmy Darcy, on and on and on. But they were magnificent musicians. I heard this wonderful young trumpet player, Winston Marsalis, say the other day, and I thought it was marvelous. He said that Louis Armstrong's jazz courses were impossible to duplicate because they were so delicately formed from the heart, and the nuances were impossible to copy.
Really?
And that says it all.
Exactly. Well, this interview will become part of the series of interviews that you've done for the Texas A&M G Library, I guess it is, in Commerce, Texas, and also is going to be part of the Smithsonian Institute's collection or affiliate, I guess.
The Texas Women's Museum is an affiliate
of the Smithsonian.
Yeah, I had the pleasure of appearing there in conversation. It's a beautiful museum, and of course, I can't say enough about Texas A&M Commerce because they have a most marvelous way of augmenting and presenting and teaching these kids about music of that era. They have a wonderful library, a great librarian, archivist, and just they've done wonders. We've given our whole collection to
That's what
Texas
I understand.
A&M.
And I want to thank especially Dr. Deb Porter for allowing us or helping us with this interview and
she's great,
giving us
isn't
the
she?
opportunity to speak with you. And it's been a real pleasure to talk with you today. And I'm
Thank
sure
you,
that our readers and our listeners are going to really enjoy hearing from you. And we thank you so very, very much.
My pleasure. Anytime.
Thank you so much. I'm Spencer Smart for the Palomar, and thank you for being with us today.
Please check out the Palomar blog. Mr. Spencer Wolf Smart is an author there. I'm sure you'll be able to interact and listen to a lot of his great comments on the classics of jazz. For all of you who would like to delve a little bit more into Louise's history and her great illustrious career, you can reach her at LouiseTobin.com. That's LouiseTobin.com.
My world gonna be different. My